Alright, welcome to episode 47 of History Rewritten. In the last episode, we had the aftermath of World War II, and lots of independent countries, as you can see. This Lesser Antilles nation, let's just have a look down here, because we're going to have more independent countries. Western Cuba, got Lesser Antilles mostly, except for those ones. Uruguay has been split into 3 different nations, which is very cool. I like all this. The colours are very vibrant. I don't know if you can see that, but the way I'm looking at it is really bright. Anyway, elsewhere we had, this was something else actually, independent Sardinia and Sicily because the blue team fully decolonized. Where else did we get some independence? I can't remember actually. We had more stuff about getting towards a Cold War between mostly the brown team and the green team, really, as they had lots of differing opinions, and also the green team survived after World War II, still with nuclear weapons and stuff, and the brown team really wants that information. So anyway, let's start with the green team first. Last time they formed an alliance between them, this country down here, who's pretty much like doubled in size in the last episode. They're a rebellion from the country that was like here and was really good friends of the Lime team, but then got destroyed. And their other ally is this one, who basically serves as their navy. Kind of, I mean, it's like their port. They could annex this puppet state, but they don't, so, oh well. I mean, they could. And then you'd actually have a coastline again, wouldn't you? But they haven't, and they probably won't. They also added this country. However, they've just got themselves into a war, and the green team aren't intervening. Let's find some colours, because I just remembered we probably need to do the colour for the other country attacking them, don't we? Yeah. Now, last time they got absolutely pummeled by the green team, because the green team was angry at them for not helping out in World War II and letting their troops go through, and also, you know, they decided, no, I'm not going to join your alliance because you did some horrible things to people. The green team's like, what? No. We would never. So they completely deny all of that, and they invaded them and just destroyed their economy effectively. But another country who got invaded by the dark green team, which is this country, would like some revenge. And seeing as the dark green team is very poor at this point and very weak, and their military is destroyed and there's no morale, job shortages, all that sort of stuff, and people don't want to trade with them because they helped out in World War I, these guys are just going to invade. So they head along the southern area and they work their way towards this major city. They take quite a lot of land in the initial strike, although that is repelled pretty quickly, and from there it's a lot slower. They weren't really prepared, but you know, from now on it takes a lot more time to just push around this lake. They do manage to close off the southern territory, continue climbing up around the lake until they take the major city. From here they're going to attempt to take this stuff around the northern side of the lake, and they push further towards the dark green team's capital. By now, the actual green team's kind of like, we might need to help you out here because you're losing a lot of people and a lot of our equipment, and we really like our equipment and we'd like to keep that. So please stop losing stuff. So they're going to intervene and be like, stop invading. Actually, I don't know why I didn't fill any of this stuff in. Stop invading, and they go, right, what are you going to do? You don't border us, what are you going to do? Well, they send a load of troops into this country, and they help to push them back until the blue team's like, okay. After this bit's taken, they agree to peace with the dark green country, and effectively the rest of the green team alliance. Now, the green team's motives for not intervening, it was kind of like, hey, look, we control the power. If we're not here, you're going to get destroyed by really poor countries. That was kind of the main bit. But also they want to show that they can be nice to other countries because they want more influence over the Central Asian region, like the steppes. And one of their ways to get that is just to give other people some land. So their message to these guys is like, oh yeah, we were going, you know what, that claim is completely fair, and you should be able to re-annex those territories, so we're going to let you have this because we're such a nice guy to have in the steppes. And it's making people like the green team more. So that's probably not good. However, not everything is good within the Green Team, because recently they lost World War II after doing loads of atrocious acts all throughout the 1930s, 20s, 40s, that sort of time. So, they're not the most popular even with their own people. Because the Green Team is now kind of descending into an anarchist sort of bit. You know, people don't like how much they influence other countries, all the stuff that they do to other countries, and that it's kind of not perfect within the Green Team. People are searching for new things, and then suddenly their leader, who wasn't the most popular leader, but he was a leader, has just died. So that's a problem. He was the leader that led them through World War II and caused the country to commit loads of atrocious acts during that time. So people are kind of like, you know, at least he's dead because he wasn't a nice guy. But also, who are we going to elect now? I don't know. So there's lots of groups going around. There's no major political thing, and people are searching for a new alternative. You know, they went fascist. I mean, they're now just back to a good old autocratic dictatorship. I mean, autocracy is just a dictatorship. But they want something new to help them, you know, get back on their feet. So they're going to be searching for that, and we might find that out at the end of the video. As for other things going on, there are Russian spies working within the Green Team. In World War I, the Green Team annexed some of the southern territories from the Brown Team, and there's people now that can go between the Brown Team and the Green Team, because now it's very hard to get Green Team citizenship unless you're from like one of these three countries, and possibly now from here. Like, not many people are allowed to enter this country. It's a big, kind of like North Korea, but nicer. Sorry, North Korea, but I don't know, it's a bit like that. And also the people aren't brainwashed. Like, they know what's going on in the rest of the world. They're not, yeah, it's probably nicer living in the Green Team. Anyway, the Russian spies are working on trying to get nuclear information from the Green Team, because they're trying to create, or the Green Team's trying to create another big explosion bomb. The one they dropped on the Arabian Union over here was just a bomb that blew loads of stuff up, and they're trying to make more of those, but as we know, there's also radioactive ones, there's biological weapons, which are like diseases and stuff. You know, I was reading about it in EP yesterday, because ethics is cool. Also I finished all the work about miracles. Anyway, there's some really horrific weapons of mass destruction, and that's crazy. But it's horrible stuff, weapons of mass destruction, you know. So they're trying to work on this, and they do actually finally get some information on how to build these things, and they kind of go, right, I'm starting my program, I'm going to develop one of these giant, very explosive bombs. And a good old pal to the south, the Arabian Union, is going to go, hey, can you share that with me? I would like to be able to build this. I don't like the Green Team very much. You know, you should allow me to have this thing. And they're like, okay. No. And the Arabian Union is like, what? We're allies. We work together to just fight in World War II. Give me the information. And the Brown Team denies giving the information to the Arabian Union, and they're really annoyed. Understandably. Because they also want to be a nuclear power, and people in the Arabian Union are now kind of feeling threatened that the Russians are out to get them. You know, that's why they're withholding nuclear information, because they're going to use it on the Arabs. And it's really starting to heat up in Eastern Europe, and just this kind of general area, as this Cold War, which is mainly between these two guys, there's lots of threats and stuff like that, is also kind of now becoming a tripolar system. Is it tripolar? Is that right? In that we have the Arabian Union kind of during the Cold War. Now they're very bad enemies of the Green Team, but they weren't on the same sort of level as the Russians, at least at like, how it's all going. So, yeah, this Cold War just got a lot more intense. The Arabs are now working really, really hard on getting their own information on how to build one of these bombs, because they have loads of land to test it. It's like, if we look at the Arabian Union, it's just like a load of desert over here. And kind of their plan with the Russians was to be like, oh, we can all test it over here. And we can work together to make this thing. And the Russians went, nope. I mean, the Green Team, they've been testing their bombs on, like, this bit over here. I mean, Russia are kind of alright without a huge desert because they have all of this, all of these islands. I think our real-world Russians have been testing it on Novaya Zemlya, which is this island. Also, if you know what this is called, or where it is, even if you know where it is, you're in like the top 99% of people, so that's cool. I'm probably just going to test it on these ones, because they're pretty useless. So, that's that. But the Cold War over here in Eastern Europe between these two guys is going to get a lot more intense, because certain countries are now choosing sides on this. I mean, like, that makes sense. But, you know, they're trying to choose, like, oh, this guy's my friend, and this guy's my friend, and here's my area of influence. So if we look at areas of influence of both of these countries, I don't know if I did this last time, but both of them have pretty huge spheres of influence. So, Russia's sphere of influence is kind of a bit like... this is tricky. I don't know why. And then, you know, Sakhalin as well. So, it's a bit like that. So, all of this stuff, the Arabian Union sphere of influence is a bit like... this, kind of. But one of the main bits is that they both cross over here in this country, and it's getting really bad here. There's lots of people fighting over things. It also crosses a lot in Eastern Europe, like in the Istrian country. There's lots of differing things. You know, like Southern Europe follows the Sun religion thing, well, kind of this southern bit. These two guys, this Thracian one kind of does. Sardinia, Sicily area. And relations in Eastern Europe aren't great, especially here, because this country was a rebellion that was a union between the old Caucasian state and the Red Team, and they both the two bits kind of united together during the plague, and yeah, this is kind of collapsing and having a horrible time. But the Brown Team's principal, like main ally who's in support of them is the Crimean country, probably the strongest ally of theirs, other than like Norway, but they're more Western European. I'd say they're more like a British ally than they are a Russian ally, because of course Britain is still the strongest country in the world, although they are going towards decolonization, so they won't be for much longer. But they're kind of staying away from this. They're trying to develop their own bombs, but they're not in the Cold War, because they're kind of aligned with lots of these countries. They're just Russian aligned, but they don't have any beef with the Green Team, because they've never fought before in history. And although they're political enemies, that it's not really their problem. Their problem's more like dealing with the rest of the world, the coasts and stuff. You know, they patrol the seas. Anyway, let's get on to some decolonization, because there was a lot of Cold War talk there. There's a lot of talk about the Cold War. And let's just chill. Oh, actually, I forgot about one bit. The Arabian Union's main ally is, at the moment, Crete. So the Cretans control lots of stuff. They have old areas of Red Team stuff, and their allies and things. So there's lots of religious influence over there already, so it makes a lot of sense, and they're going closer towards the Aegean alliance. But yeah, I mean the Green Team's main ally is this guy, but they've also actually got an alliance. I mean, so do these guys. They have these three, or these two in their alliance, and they might be trying to expand that sometime soon, so we'll see. Anyway, speaking of alliances though, China just formed an alliance between the Orange Team, which looks a bit like an inverted Austria-Hungary, and the Brown Country, so they have an actual alliance, and they're going to try and flex their muscles on some random poor countries over here in sort of like the, I don't know what area, Mongolian sort of area. That's not right. So the Chinese will be leading an invasion into this dark blue country over here. Why? Because they want to show their people that they're strong. The southern areas of the country are very mountainous, so they're kind of just going to go, I don't care about that. China is still a very powerful country. They have one nuclear atomic explosive weapon. They've not used it yet, and nobody really knows they're developing any more. The Koreans are trying to infiltrate China. There's still some Korean people who have been left in China since the Chinese annexed a load of territory, and the Koreans are trying to just work towards this. They're very close in their Hainan territory. The Korean people who are here in the south, who are now in this country, who are now able to work on this. Koreans in Australia, stuff like that, and that's that general thing. As for this war, yeah, that just kind of it was a Chinese victory. That was kind of obvious. That was going to turn out like that. So they've got a load more useless territories, but hooray for China, I suppose. Good for you. They look even scarier on the map, and they're getting closer towards the Green Team's sphere of influence. Now China and the Green Team have moved apart a lot more in recent times, because they disagree about what the Green Team did during World War II, and they both lost, and losses bring hate. So that's kind of how that worked. Anyway, I said I'd do some decolonization about 5 minutes ago, so let's do some of that. We have it starting off here in Oceania. What the hell? Oceania? I don't think so, right? I don't know what color I want to make this, and it's annoying me. I think I want to make it blue, but that works. So the French will be giving independence to their sort of Haitian colony. It's bigger than Haiti. They were going to give independence to it before, but then an earthquake struck. Is that Elephant Island? I think it may be. But this is going to lead to independence for the sort of like Dominican Republic colony to their right. So this one will also receive their independence. You can look like this. Alright, Puerto Rico is still staying with the brown team, however, your capital can be in this city. I was going to put it there because that city for some reason is bigger. I don't know why really. It just looks like that on the map. Cancel. I'm going to do any more things in the Caribbean. We might do. There's been a lot of independence movements in the Caribbean. We had the Norwegian independence thing. Norwegian Bahamas, their capital is on this island. We've had Haiti, Dominican Republic, and the Lesser Antilles now. So, Jamaica, tell you what, you can have your independence. Jamaica's an independent nation. I think they've actually got the occupied country colour. So, let's change that and make it slightly brighter. Jamaica, you're now a country. So the British have actually lost their first colony, I think. We might see more of that in the next ones. Moving along to the Swedish, they are going to be losing some areas, not the entire thing, of this colony. So it's going to get divided up quite a lot, actually. So with this southern area, we have this sort of northern bit over here. We have a country around in all this area. Another one over here. And one country over there. So I think that's all the independences we're going to need. It's going to be a lot of countries though, I think. So you can be this one. Put you there. Country number 2. You can be over here. That's a very similar colour there. Country number 3. Sorry, this is not very interesting for you. I'm afraid it might not be. You can be over there. Country number... What? Don't worry about that. Country number 4, you can be there. And finally, country number 5. We can have this, maybe? This, maybe. That works. It doesn't work there. I don't know. I'm not sure I quite like it. Oh yeah, it's alright. Time for capitals though. So the Swedish have released a load of colonies. We have this first one putting their capital on the south. We have this capital over here, this capital around here, one capital up here, and another by this lake. Do we really need some more major cities? Yes, I really need to update the major city map. You can have one over there. You can have one there. And another one over here. And you can have one there. Obviously, this country is the strongest, this central one. They have coastlines on both sides, on the Caribbean Sea side and the Pacific Ocean side, so that makes sense. Moving down south to the Grenadian colony, they'll be giving independence to part of this, not all of it, just part of it. Oh yeah, I forgot I actually need to try and remember all these colours. That's what I actually need to do. Because it's highly possible I'm just going to forget them, and I don't want to do that. I could write them all down right now, but then I could just say, like, skip ahead a bit. You know, we could do that. Because I need to remember the stuff. Can I remember all this? Is it easy enough to remember? That looks easy enough. That looks slightly strange for some reason. Why has it been moved down so much? I don't know. Anyway, that looks alright. That looks alright. And that looks okay. Alright, it's reasonably rememberable, I think. So we have a pretty large area within these, like, central... Not like there's borders. A pretty large area within the central southern area of this colony. Area. What a great word. It's mostly forest, which makes sense. I think it's the rainforest. So there's not a huge amount of people living here, but there's lots of lumberjacks, I suppose. They're going to put their capital right here, and they will be this colour. Crikey. That's bright. Might see some more decolonization in this area sometime soon, but I have to find out. Going down to the purple colony, we have an area of their country getting its independence. It's not going to be a huge bit, and it's not going to be very much of the actual thing, but it's some of it. This colony does actually quite want its independence because it has the potential to become one of the strongest nations in the world. That's why. Which makes a lot of sense. I mean, just look at the size of Brazil. It's not as big as our Brazil because equality reasons. Fairness. This country is going to be putting its capital down here in the south, and now we have 5 South American independent nations, so that's pretty exciting, and the Americas look a lot more colourful. Next time I think it might spread to North America, like North America proper. This is kind of like Central America. Pretty exciting though. Moving along to Africa, we have the return of an old country, an old friend. As the Italians are finally going to decolonize and give independence to the Libyan colony over here. Is that the right colour? I don't think so. Was it meant to be this colour? Yeah, that's about right. It's the old Libyan state, you know, they're very pleased to be back. Makes a lot of sense. Their capital is going back here. I think it was there before, at least I hope so. They do kind of propose to their neighbour to the left, this guy. Like, how about we unite together and reform the old country? Well, lots of people are very against this because it happened a few years ago, and that was not fun. loads of people got sent to the Sahara to endure horrible punishments. They weren't treated very nicely by the Northern Italians, who are now gone. But nobody's really avid for that idea, so it's not going to happen. At least not yet. But they do both kind of like, hey, let's reform this old alliance, shall we? We need to get on with doing that. Moving further down to the south, we have this colonies giving independence to this colony. So we have this coastal region becoming its own thing. Because it was kind of like the old Indian colony, most of its history, this thing has just looked like that. So it kind of makes more sense. As for the rest of this, though, we divide it up into 3 other countries. There we go. So let's have, I don't know, what do we want? So a limeish coloured one for the old Lime Team colony. This colour. I really might need to try and write some of these down. I feel, let's have some more colonies looking ones there for the rest of them. So you can be similar colour. Of course, the colonies won't be here, so it won't look that similar anymore. Just kind of show your capital. I mean, your capital is going to be back in your old capital. Oh wait, we did actually have an old Tanzanian country, didn't we? I was meant to remember their colour. Oh yeah, that's crazy. The green is 138. What does that mean? Why? Alright, okay, that makes sense, I suppose. Yep, so unfortunately, you're not going to be existing. I mean, you can exist here. There you go. This colour still gets severe country. There you go. And your capital's going to be right there. To be honest, I kind of feel like you do need some other cities though, my friend. So I'm just going to give you some more in those areas. Especially this one. This one really needs a lot more cities. And for the final country, I don't know where to put you. I have no idea. Let's just remove the green. And you can look like that. Anyway, cool new independent Tanzanian thing. Your capital is there. I think I already said that. Your capital is going to be right here, and your capital will be over there. So Tanzania has now been split up into a few different nations. Nice. The colours aren't the best. I'm not sure how I feel about this. This is not a beautiful colour. Doesn't look great with all the other greens. To be honest, I don't love it. Actually, I quite loathe it. So why don't we just do this? Do this. I don't know what to do, guys. I don't know what to do. Oh, it's very similar. Damn it. Why? They all look the same. Anyway, there we go. It's good. It's good enough. It's good enough. I just wanted to make this. Anyway, so after loads of time spent making loads of random colonies and colours and things, there's that. I lost. That took an excessive amount of time to do. No more independent countries in Africa is a lie. I shouldn't have said that, because we do have some more. So we have Sao Tome and Principe, and along with Bamako. Bamako, yeah, the island of Bamako, where the capital is going to be, incidentally, like Equatorial Guinea, whose capital is Malabo. It's on this island over here. So that is a new independent country from the Bretons, who are pretty close to fully decolonizing. And we also have independence. What colour do you want to be, mate? I'm not sure. I don't know, really. Don't know what you want to do. There you go. You exist now. I don't really like that colour. You know what? It's disgusting. No, that's a lot better. I found a lot of greens in Africa for some reason. That's bizarre. Your capital is going to be, of course, on the island with the only major city on it, so... I don't... You're probably going to sink eventually, so I wouldn't worry too much. There you go, Africa's getting closer to full decolonization. We've lost a lot of countries so far in today's episode. Moving on to Oceania, though, this general area. We have the purple team losing another colony. It's going to be this ugly thing down here. I hate it. And finally, it will be given its independence. But what's a perfect way to draw this other? And with some horrible looking lines. As they buy a portion of terracotta land. No, Terracotta Nation didn't want this land anymore, because of a lot of Iberian people living here, and also they just need the money after World War II. They've regained a load of their old land back, so they're going to sell it over to this country, and using a great straight line to hand it over to them. And what colour do we make this country? I think maybe this sort of thing. Actually, that works, yeah. This colour. I think that's still very ugly. I tried to get them to look like the state of South Australia. That was my imagined image of this when I created it. So let's make it look like South Australia, because that looks really cool. It did not look like South Australia, I'm afraid. The state of Southern Australia. I'm sorry. And your capital will be right over here. So the green team colony, this Irish one, is getting close to decolonization. I've just realised what I've done to your borders. It wasn't just these guys. We now have a lovely straight line. It's also you, so I'm afraid I'm sorry about that. The British one down here also kind of wants independence, and there's lots of movement around here in this area. But we have another French independence country. That country is going to be this colony down here. They're going to be giving independence to it. The Vietnamese being allowed to take a pretty huge, hefty amount of this land, because there's Vietnamese people living here. That's why. It makes quite a lot of sense. So Vietnam will be taking all of these sections, and the rest of it will be allowed to be its own independent country. So there we go. There we go. Sorry. I don't know, I say sorry a lot. I got told to stop saying sorry by somebody, which was amusing. I still said sorry anyway. I didn't even do anything. I just always end up saying sorry for stuff. I don't know. The character defect. Is it a defect? I'm not sure. I have to find out. Anyway, might be where I leave it for today's episode. There are some other things I could do, but I do like that we changed the map up a lot. Getting closer with this Cold War stuff, and that's a good point. That was a good thing I reminded myself. Checking back in on the green team. Look at this map. They finally found their solution to their big problem. It's about 1955, I'd say now. It's been 3 years probably for this. Maybe encroaching upon 1956. The green team is going to finally choose their new ideology, and it's basically the opposite of fascism, as the green team has gone communist, and so have all their friends. So this guy, and this guy. And these guys are basically transitioning to it, so I suppose you could say they're communists now. And communism is going to start to spread around the Central Asian steppes, mountainous areas. So we're going to see some more communist countries in the coming episodes. Pretty exciting. Everyone else is kind of worried about this because, I mean, the Russians, I have said this before, but not really that much. The Russians are ultra-capitalist. They are about as capitalist as you can get. It's just extremely capitalist here in Russia. You know, the rich get richer, and if you're poor, there is not much chance for you to do anything. I mean, you can ascend the social hierarchy and you can earn a good living. It's just, it's tricky to get past certain things, and rich people can become immensely rich. So if you're a rich person, go to Russia and get really rich. But if you're not, it's probably not the perfect place. But then some people do see it as a place of like, oh, lots of rich people here, and there's a lot of opportunities to get rich. It's just there's a lot of people vying for those opportunities. That's kind of what I'm trying to get across there about Russia. But the Green Team's gone communist, which is basically the complete opposite. So, yeah. Anyway, checking back on the Arabian Union, they've just found out some nuclear stuff. They brought it back from the Green Team. They're spies. They have spies down here in the south who work their way up here because Red Team heritage people. And they have some of this nuclear information, and they're going to be using this to make their own atomic bomb. So we might see a couple of those in the next episode. That's probably about where I leave it for today. The Green Team's working on their third bomb, which is not good. But yeah, more alliances, more Cold War stuff, and more independence. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, and have a nice rest of your day. Anyway, goodbye.